You get a promotion. Finally, you've been grinding for a whole year, and here it is, your salary just jumped 40%. You feel like a winner. You feel like you've earned it. On your very first day after the news, you walk into your usual coffee shop where you normally get a medium drip for $2.5. But today, you look at the menu differently. You're making more now, right? You deserve better. So instead of your regular coffee, you order the oat milk cortado with vanilla cold foam for $7.5, plus the almond croissant for $5.5. You can afford it now. Then you drive home in your old Honda Civic, and suddenly it feels small. Wrong. Your colleague in the same position drives a Tesla, and you're still in this tin can on wheels. It doesn't match your new status. So within a month, you're signing papers for a $45,000 car loan. It's an investment in your image, right? Your new car sits in the parking lot of your dated apartment complex. The contrast is jarring. You start looking at luxury apartments downtown. A 30-year mortgage. The new apartment needs furniture. The furniture needs new appliances. The appliances need a total renovation and modern style. A year passes. Your salary went up 40%, but somehow you're poorer. You have 3 credit cards maxed out, a mortgage, a car payment, and less money at the end of the month than you had before the promotion. How did this happen? This isn't you being bad with money. This is a psychological trap that's destroyed more wealth than any stock market crash. A phenomenon that explains why pro athletes go bankrupt 3 years after retirement, and why lottery winners are more likely to end up broke than rich. It's called the Hedonic Treadmill. My name is Simon, and on this channel, we break down the invisible scripts that keep you broke. Most people think more income equals more money. Today, I'm going to prove to you that more income equals more expenses if you don't understand how this trap works. If you want to step off the treadmill and actually start building wealth, smash that like button, and let's dive into the story of the man who proved happiness is a moving target. To understand why you can't stop spending more, we need to go back to America in the 1970s. Meet psychologist Philip Brickman. He was conducting revolutionary research. He found people who had won the lottery big money, life-changing sums. He interviewed them a year after their win. And you know what he discovered? They were no happier than before they won. In fact, many were more miserable. How is that possible? Someone gets $1 million and becomes unhappy? Brickman uncovered a fundamental law of human psychology. We adapt to any level of pleasure. It's called hedonic adaptation. Picture this: you've been taking the bus your whole life. Then you buy a beat-up used Corolla. The first week you're on cloud 9. You have a car. Freedom. But within a month, the Corolla is just normal. You've adapted. The pleasure evaporated. Now, you think happiness is a newer car. You buy a Camry. First week, bliss. A month later, normal. Now, you need a BMW. Then a Mercedes. Then a Porsche. You're running on a treadmill of pleasure, but you never reach the finish line. Because there is no finish line. With every step up, the bar of what makes you happy rises with you. Brickman proved it. We return to our baseline level of happiness regardless of circumstances. Won $1 million? A year later, you're at the same happiness level you were before. But here's the problem: your spending didn't return to baseline. It went up and stayed high. Now you're thinking, Simon, that's an interesting theory about 1,972 Americans, but what does this have to do with me? This affects you every single day. The hedonic treadmill is more dangerous today than it was 50 years ago because social media has turned it into an epidemic. Let's break down the influencer lifestyle spiral. You start making decent money. You rent a nicer apartment. You start posting on Instagram. Photos against floor to ceiling windows. Likes pour in. Friends comment, living your best life. You feel validated. But a week later, photos of the same apartment don't hit. Fewer likes. The algorithm doesn't push you. You realize you need new content. You go to a trendy restaurant. You post. Explosion of likes. But a week later, silence again. You need a new restaurant, then a trip, then a new gadget, then a new car. You're not living your life. You're producing content for status validation. Every purchase is fuel for the treadmill, and the speed keeps increasing. Because your followers adapt too. What impressed them a month ago is boring today. You need more, flashier, more expensive. This is the core psychology of the treadmill. Adaptation demands escalation. As humans, we're programmed to adapt to any conditions. This was useful when we lived in caves. If we found a warmer cave, we quickly got used to the new comfort and stopped appreciating it. This forced us to keep searching for even better solutions. Adaptation is a survival mechanism, but in the modern world of consumption, this mechanism has turned into a self-destructive spiral. When you raise your standard of living, rent a more expensive apartment, buy more expensive clothes, eat at more expensive restaurants, you don't become happier forever. You become happier for 2 - weeks. Then adaptation kicks in. The new level becomes normal. The old level now feels degrading. That's why someone who was happy making $50,000 after getting a raise to $100,000 will feel broke within 6 months. They raised their spending to $110,000. They adapted to the new level, and now the old level feels like poverty. Let's break down the math of the promotion trap. Most people budget like this. I was making $60,000, spending $50,000, saving $10,000. Now I'm making $100K, I'll save $30K, right? Wrong. Here's what actually happens. Salary increased from $60,000 to $100,000, plus $40,000. You moved to a nicer apartment. Rent went from $1,200 to $2,100. Minus $900 a month equals $10,800 a year from your raise. You started taking Ubers instead of the subway because you can afford it, was $0 now to $500 a month. Minus $300 a year. You switched from home coffee to Starbucks, was $0 now $180 a month. Minus $160 a year. You started buying clothes at Nordstrom instead of Target, was $100 a month, now $350 a month. Minus $300 a year. You got a gym membership with a personal trainer instead of working out at home, was $0 now $300 a month. Minus $600 a year. Your friends also make more now, so you go to different places. Was $200 a month on entertainment, now $600 a month. Minus $400 a year. You upgraded your phone, your laptop, your streaming subscriptions, your everything. Another $500 a year. Total, you spent plus $32. $360 of your $40,000 raise. You're making $40,000 more, but living on $7,640 extra per year, and that's before taxes eat half of it. This is the treadmill. It works not because you're stupid. It works because your brain adapts faster than your income grows. This brings us to a terrifying realization. Salary increases often make you poor. When you had a small salary, you knew your limits. You didn't consider expensive restaurants. You didn't think about the latest iPhone. You lived within boundaries. And within those boundaries, you were free. When your salary increased, the boundaries blurred. Now you can afford more things. And each of those things becomes a new normal. You lose the ability to enjoy simple pleasures. A $2.5 coffee now feels insulting. You're a slave to your new level. So how do we stop this? How do we break a psychological pattern hardwired into our brains? We can't just reject everything and live like monks. That's unrealistic. But we can build barriers against the spiral. Here's my 3-step defense strategy against the upgrade trap. Strategy number 1, the 50/50ths rule. When you get a raise or promotion, split it in half before you spend a single dollar. 50% goes immediately to automatic transfer into savings or investments. 50% you can spend on improving your life. If your salary went from $60,000 to $100,000, out of that new $40K, $20K automatically goes to savings. It doesn't exist to you. The other $20,000 is yours for lifestyle upgrades. This forces you to choose. You can't upgrade everything at once. You protect yourself from total adaptation. Strategy number 2, the happiness anchor principle. Choose 3 - 5 things that make you happy and vow to never upgrade them, regardless of income growth. For example, you'll always drink simple black coffee at home. You'll always take public transit to work. You'll always shop sales for clothes. These anchors keep you grounded. They remind you that happiness isn't about consumption level. When you're making 6 figures but still drinking cheap homebrewed coffee, you remain the master of your life. You haven't let the treadmill capture every area. Strategy number 3, practice strategic downgrade. This is the nuclear option, but it works. Once every 6 months, intentionally downgrade one of your habits for a month. If you're used to Uber ride the subway for a month, if you're used to restaurants cook at home for a month, if you're used to 5-star hotels, stay in a hostel. This resets your pleasure system. You will learn to appreciate simple things. When you get back in an Uber after a month of subway rides, it feels luxurious again. You've escaped adaptation. Many will say, why earn more if you're not going to spend more? Here's the truth. Earning more isn't about spending more. Earning more is about gaining freedom. Freedom isn't the ability to buy everything you want. Freedom is the ability to not want what you don't need. Look, there's nothing wrong with nice things. I like nice things. But you have to understand the game you're playing. The consumption industry is designed to make you feel incomplete. It's built to make you think one more purchase will bring happiness. But Brickman proved the truth 50 years ago. That purchase won't bring happiness. It'll bring 2 weeks of pleasure, then you'll return to baseline. Only now with less money and more obligations. Don't become a slave to the treadmill. Become the master of your life. If you want to know more about building real wealth that doesn't depend on showing off, check out this video right here where I break down the financial independence method.